I am pretty surprised that a lot of people are still asking me to cover the most efficient ways to farm Fortitude crystals. I can't blame you guys since these materials are in high demand for both beginners and endgame players. I'm the Samurai, and in this video, I will be sharing my personal party setups, practices, and even best farming spots so you can easily stockpile Fortitude crystals efficiently and get your shiny weapons max in no time. Now that is out of the way, let's tackle team composition first. Let's start with a few reminders, and anyone should have already reached the endgame before farming for Fortitude crystals like crazy, or at least have one character built up with at least max essential weapons at least before participating in these activities, especially when joining online sessions, and I will be diving into this later. Of course, if you are still in the process of maxing your essential weapons perhaps, I will also be providing suggestions like farming spots from mid-game to early endgame. The main idea is the stronger your general team or main character is, of course, the more your runs will be more efficient or faster overall. I will be providing auto and manual farming methods in this guide so you can play with these methods and apply them depending on your needs. Now for my setup, my main is none other than Narmaya. As for the other party members, Eugen is non-negotiable due to his top-notch AI and powerhouse TPS, along with Cagliostro equipped with the majority of her offensive skills. Lastly would be Rakim and Jita for extreme to proud difficulty farming. Of course, I am not telling you that you need to have these characters or the equipment that I will show you later on before farming, and I'm just simply sharing the idea so you will have a goal to work on when optimizing your runs later in the game. Just work with what you have in terms of general team composition, or have one decently built main character if participating online, just like what I have mentioned. Narmaya can be changed later on with Percival or Rosetta since these two are both better in terms of AI. Also, all of my endgame equipment and skills have been posted now on the screen, and pause it if you want to if you need to inspect them. Still not the best in terms of equipment, but these are working well so far. With the party setup out of the way, time for the farming spots. As I have mentioned earlier, the spots and methods vary between manual and auto farming, so you will have an option depending on your needs. So the first spot on the list is the extreme quest Shedding Light on the Pillar. I have also suggested this in one of my previous videos, where shedding light on the pillar can easily be auto or manual farm since enemies will come at you and the crystal that you are defending just need to survive in just 4 minutes. This is a perfect spot for auto farming, especially if you are in downtime or you are preoccupied. This spot can also work well for beginner setups, and just make sure that Rakim is one of the characters that you are controlling, and this quest provides a handful of Fortitude crystals ranging from 6 to 8 Fortitude large crystals and 62 pieces of medium ones. Results vary a little bit, but those are the ballpark. Time for the next ones, and the next two quests on the list are just quests that you can spam when reaching mid to early endgame, accessible to newbies or beginners, and easy to complete. Note that it is advisable to run the next two quests if you are at mid to endgame only, since there are better farming spots at super late game. The first one would be the very hard quest, Absolutely No Trespassers. Players will be progressing on a straightforward dungeon-like level where they will be fighting hordes of enemies. Very easy to complete, and I am not going to tackle the clear time here since it was designed for beginners. A usual run provides 3 Fortitude large crystals and 21 pieces of medium crystals. Moving on to the next one, which is an extreme quest, the Great Goblins of Fire. You will also be dealing with the hordes of enemies in this quest, which works identically to the previous quest. Very easy to complete and pretty straightforward. Each run for this quest usually nets 10 Fortitude large crystals, 34 medium ones, and lastly 10 to 16 small crystals. It is worth noting that the last two quests can't be auto and are mainly for emergency needs only, and I don't suggest staying in this quest too long as I have mentioned. But before anything else, if you are into straight to the point guides, tips and tricks like this one, or just love Japanese role-playing games and Souls-like games in general, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and it will surely help me a lot. Join our Discord server as we are building an empire where we can help each other. Now on to the farming spots. The next quest on the list is the best spot overall, as this quest can be completed relatively quickly despite having 2 griffin bosses at the end of the quest. At this point, you are likely working on your first Ascension weapon or you already finished the game, so I highly suggest running online sessions with other players. Since the majority of the player base nowadays are pretty much max, so the runs will be much smoother and faster, and even if you are required to deal with 2 bosses simultaneously. There are a lot of players who are currently spamming this quest, so you can take advantage of the quick matchmaking currently. Each run lasts around 1 minute and 30 seconds and can be faster if you manage to party with multiple Oigans and Rakams, or even characters that can use crowd control skills. Fortitude crystal rewards range from 32 large crystal ones and 4 of the medium ones, making this the best spot in my opinion. Moving on to the next spot, which is still a mania quest, which is Revenge of the Hordes. You can pretty much do this online as well, but I tend to do this solo if I want to play alone or don't want to queue since matchmaking is kinda not working properly on my end. But solo this quest if you have a decently built team, since 2 of the goblin bosses at the end of this quest is pretty much overwhelming for beginners. My usual runs on this quest last around 1 and 40 seconds to 2 minutes plus and usually get around 29 Fortitude large crystals and 13 medium ones. Now that the main spots are out of the way, it is time for my other methods for farming Fortitude crystals. So for the first one, I mentioned this a lot in my previous farming videos, but it is easy to reach the 999 cap for Rafale coins, and you can easily exchange 999 Rafale coins to 0 for easy 33 Fortitude crystals. Just incorporate this method in any activities that you can engage in, and it is a decent boost to your Fortitude large crystals. It is easy to hit the cap like in no time, so keep your eye out on this one. The next method will be future-proof trading quests in Folka. This is ideal since this quest can also still be spammed for a decent amount of Fortitude crystals, and each exchange does provide 1 Fortitude large crystal and 3 medium ones. I mentioned this method still since it is spammable currently, and especially since you can get a lot of Earth Shards from General Investigation Galanza Extreme Quest and Fire Shards from the next hot topic, especially when farming Curios. The next method on the list is Blazing Trial farming. You will be getting 5 Fortitude crystals per run, while also farming for damage cap 5+ sigils, curios, and more in the process. This quest can be auto or manually be farmed depending on your preference. Use all of these methods and play with all the best spots in the game to accumulate tons of Fortitude crystals in no time to max your sweet weapons, especially when maxing Terminus weapons. These are also my personal practices and methods that I've been doing for quite some time now, and feel free to play around these techniques and apply all of them according to your needs. Now if you want to know how the curio drop system works and also know the best farming spots for curios, or even learn how auto farming works in general, click the videos here and I will catch you on the next one.